Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Wayne. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to Basin Electric's 62nd annual meeting. This meeting would not be possible without the people who spend months planning it, so please join me in thanking our event and communications team for their hard work. So, as Brenda mentioned, last year we tested your survival skills with a blizzard that dumped over 25 inches of snow on Bismarck during our annual meeting. And this year, we are testing your driving skills with citywide road construction and the traffic cones to go with it. If you have a preference for which of your skills we test next year, please get in contact with this lady, Sarah Elder. She is our event coordinator, and she will do our best to make it happen next year. So over the next day and a half, we have assembled an outstanding group of guest speakers and panelists who are going to provide you with expert views and industry perspectives external to Basin Electric. You're also going to hear from Team Basin. Our objective will be to provide you with a boots on the ground view of the issues that we're tackling on your behalf. Accordingly, I'm not going to give you the standard CEO speech with a 30,000-foot view. I'm going to speak to the practical issues that we are addressing in order to serve you better. I'll start with strategic planning. In November of 2022, Basin's senior leadership team and our board began an effort to revamp our strategic plan. While strategic planning is never complete, the first phase of the effort concluded in June with the acceptance of our new mission statement and our strategic objectives. What I look for in a mission statement is a unifying sense of purpose. And our new mission statement does just that by stating we are a safe, environmentally responsible cooperative that provides reliable, affordable power, products, and services to sustain the quality of life for our member owners across rural America. Now, there's a story behind this mission statement that I find gratifying. Basin has a leadership program called Be Leaders. This allows a cohort of our promising junior team members to hone their leadership skills in a year-long training program. We tasked this group to develop our new mission statement, and the results speak for themselves. As part of our strategic planning effort, we developed 3 cooperative-wide goals or initiatives. Today, I'm joined on stage with 3 of my colleagues who measure and manage these initiatives: safety, reliability, and affordability. I'll give you some context around each of these and then let Miles and Gavin and Katrina discuss the measurement and management of each of these. I'll begin with our most important initiative, safety. Now, my philosophy on safety is going to sound harsh, but please bear with me. A number of years ago, John Lee, CEO of Mecklenburg Electric Cooperative in Southern Virginia, shared his safety philosophy with me, and I adopted it as my own. My safety philosophy is that I would rather see you fired than maimed or killed. You heard me correctly. My safety philosophy is that I would rather see you fired than maimed or killed. Now, someone, or likely more than one person, watching this out of our plants just said to their neighbor, "This is our CEO talking. He works in a warm office in the winter in a cool office in the summer? What does he know about workplace hazards? Good question. And to that, I would say you're correct. And I would add that my biggest risk of injuries are paper cuts and stapler accidents, maybe? However, we're teammates, and I don't need to work shoulder to shoulder with you in order to care about your well-being. But I do work shoulder to shoulder with Dale Johnson and Troy Tweeten and Derek Johnson. And when I put myself in their shoes, I know what the worst day of their careers looks like. It is when they have to pick up the phone one afternoon and call your parents or your spouse and tell them that you're in the hospital with a work-related injury. Or worse, they have to offer their condolences for a life lost too soon. Now, I could put my CEO hat on and tell you about all the statistics that correlate workplace safety with lower costs and higher profitability. But I'm not going to do that, because safety is about the people side of our business. It is our solemn vow to one another to send each other home safely each and every day so that we can spend the fruits of our labor with our families and our friends. Going back to that paper cut, if I got it, you would see that I bleed basin blue. And I can proudly say there is only one Basin Electric. As the largest G&T in the country, and as one of the country's largest electric utilities, we have an obligation to ourselves, to our members, and to our industry to do things safely, reliably, and affordably. My colleague, Miles McGrew, is our Chief Human Resources Officer, and he is leading our efforts to transform Basin Electric safety culture. So I'll invite him to discuss how we are measuring and managing safety. Miles.
Thank you, Todd. Before I begin, I got to apologize. For those of you who are hair follically challenged, you'll get this. I should have powdered my head. So if you got glasses, you might need them. So the smartest people on earth, the best companies in the world, all acknowledge the importance of safety in the workplace. The great Albert Einstein once said, "Concern for man himself and his safety must always form the chief of all technical endeavors." I want to tell you, safety is not a priority. Priorities change from year to year. Instead, safety is and must always be a core value. Basin has a long history of making safety a core value. However, the last decade, we've slipped some. Last year, we reviewed the data to compare Basin to similar industries. We found that according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Basin has had more safety incidents on average than similar industries. This just is not acceptable. Once we analyzed the data, we set out to make a plan. We hired a new safety director, Ryan Fisk. You'll see his picture here. We centralized the safety function by moving the reporting structure from local site leaders to one safety leader to better leverage knowledge of safety professionals in the co-op. With all the safety professionals we have over 150 years of experience. That experience helps us learn from previous safety incidents and safeguard employees through action items and controls. We also increase safety communications by conducting weekly safety team meetings. We emphasize lessons learned with safety bulletins. We track data to analyze main causes of safety. And finally, we are now doing monthly safety reports with leadership actively participating in these safety meetings. With the support of the board of directors and the collaboration from senior leaders, many who are here, we refined our strategic planning process. That process yielded a new mission statement as well as new employee values. Because safety is our #1 value, it is specifically named in our mission statement, our employee values, the first of 3 cooperative-wide goals, and one of the co-op's 8 strategic objectives. One of the first things we did was develop a safety scorecard so we can track our progress and hold ourselves accountable. We set a goal of 10% reduction in both the total case incident rate, or TCIR, which is injuries beyond first aid, and DART, which is days away, restricted, or transferred. DARTs tend to be more important indicators of safety because they show the severity rate, or how serious the injury is. This goal is challenging but very realistic. Let's look at the scoreboard we share with the employees every month. You can see the number we were in 2022 in the first column, and where we are at this point in the year in the second column. As far as total incidents, we are currently at 1.65% to a goal of 1.95% or lower. That means at this point in the year, we are seeing a 24% reduction rate from the end of the year of 2022. In DART classifications, we are currently at 0.41%, which is a 65% reduction rate from the end of last year. Both these statistics show we are well on our way to numbers that we can now be proud of. I want to share our roadmap to reduction. Now, you know you don't go on a road trip without knowing where you want to go, what route you want to take, and how to get there. So the safety roadmap shows exactly what we are focusing on and when we are focusing on each item. In the first quarter of this year, we started with the basics, and as the year moves on, we're building off of those, prioritizing our focus based on the level of importance and compliance. I won't go through every step here, but it shows that we have a detailed safety plan in place, and we're following that plan. This chart shows the main causes of injury and the severity of those injuries. In both 2022 and 2023, the main causes of injury have remained the same, so we're focusing on those 3, of course. Slips, trips, and falls, lines of fire injuries such as being struck, pinched, or struck by a stationary object, and ergonomics. If we can improve these instances and severity of just 2 of these causes by 50%, it will get us below the incident rate of our peers and get us to our goals with room to spare. Some of the tactics we've implemented to help with these injuries are implementing new personal protective equipment, such as ice traction devices for employees' footwear, sending lesson learned bulletins out after safety incidents explaining what happened, how we can prevent this from happening again, and assigning action items to help prevent similar incidents, and holding safety presentations and training for all of our employees. I'd like to close by echoing what Todd said earlier. While our numbers are looking better and we have a plan in place to meet our goals we've set for our employees, safety is more important than numbers and metrics. It's about our people. And the true goal to make sure our employees go home safely to their families each and every night. So that's why at Basin, safety is more than a priority. Thank you.
Miles, thank you for that review of our safety program. We're cheering for you every day because the initiatives that you outlined protect our most important assets, our people. So let's shift gears to reliability. All of us are electric consumers in our homes, businesses, or farms. So we naturally associate power outages or lack of reliability with down power lines. While this is most often the case, our country's changing generation mix is more frequently impacting reliability. So what do I mean by our country's changing generation mix? Well, in the United States, the generation mix is shifting from dispatchable resources like nuclear, coal, and natural gas to non-dispatchable renewable resources. As you can see on the screen, the generation mix has changed considerably over the last decade. and SPP and MISO, the two regional transmission organizations that Basin participates in. These trends are likely to accelerate, as you can see from the interconnection requests in the same markets. Extreme weather events can impact non-dispatchable resources in unique ways. Severe cold can cause wind turbines to be taken offline. Snow can cover solar panels. And the wind may not blow and the sun may not shine just when you need these resources the most. And even as it becomes the most dominant dispatchable resource, natural gas is not without its challenges. That's because it is a fuel that must be continually transported to generation plants as opposed to inventoried on site like nuclear fuel and coal. In short, the U.S. electrical system is becoming less resilient and more fragile. In 2021, Winter Storm Uri saw rolling blackouts impact 150 million Americans. Winter Storm Elliott, which barreled across the country just before Christmas last year, caused the Tennessee Valley Authority and Duke Energy to institute rolling blackouts. Those rolling blackouts instituted by TVA were the first in its history. Now, as we all know, Basin Electric is committed to reliability, as demonstrated by our capital expenditure program. We currently have 11 major projects underway with an estimated completion cost of $1.9 billion. Over the next decade, our financial forecast projects that we'll spend $5 billion on capital expenditures. Let me say that again. In order to meet the growth and reliability needs of our membership, Basin Electric is projecting an investment of $5 billion into our system. That compares to our current balance sheet size of $8.4 billion. While Basin has the resources to ensure reliability, our efforts are constrained in a number of ways. First, 9% of our member unit sales occur in MISO. 73% occur in SPP. MISO and SPP are RTOs with their own rules around reliability. When power shortages occur, they can direct us to disconnect load, regardless of our resource availability. Second, the Environmental Protection Agency. The EPA is on a determined campaign of regulatory overreach. This not only threatens our existing generation assets, but also severely restricts what technologies we can use to ensure future reliability. Our unit sales increased 7.8% last year, and we project robust growth going forward. So regulatory uncertainty is a significant risk to this growth and a significant cost to serve this growth. Basin Electric, as you know, has an all-of-the-above energy strategy. Unfortunately, to defend this strategy, we also have an all-of-the-above legal strategy. We are engaged with our National Trade Association and RECA. State and locally, we are engaged with the Lignite Energy Council, attorneys general from several states, and then again nationally, we're engaged with our industry partners to defend our interests and ensure future reliability. These outside forces are distracting, but it is of paramount importance that we manage or control what we can control with respect to the reliability of our transmission and generation assets. Gavin McCollam, our Chief Operating Officer, and his team have been busy and they've been busy developing reliability metrics, identifying critical spares in anticipation of the unexpected, evaluating our maintenance practices, and discussing other best practices with G&Ts around the country related to operations and maintenance. I'll now turn it over to Gavin to discuss some of his team's efforts.
Well, thank you, Todd. Todd talked about our new mission statement, strategic objectives, and our cooperative-wide goals. One of the key components in each of those is our responsibility to be a reliable energy provider to our membership. Recent member surveys have consistently put reliability at the top of the list of items most important to our Basin Electric family. So, how do we define reliability? If you look it up in the dictionary, you find some words, some synonyms such as dependable, secure, trustworthy. These are all good words. But I'm going to use a few different words to describe how I see reliability at Basin Electric. It's complicated. It's stressful. It can be dangerous. But ultimately, it's simple. Yes, I do realize that I just told you that reliability is complicated, and a few seconds later I said reliability is simple. I'll explain that in a minute. First, I'll quickly explain the reliability goal and how we are doing so far in 2023. In general terms, our goals for reliability for the generation fleet are to be 2 percentage points better in the equivalent forced outage rate than industry average, and to also have a better forced outage rate this year than we did last year. So far, we are just barely ahead of our goal. We had a few challenging months at the start of the year, but I believe that we are hitting our stride. So the next question is, what exactly is the equivalent forced outage rate? And this is what it means in layman's terms. This is how reliability is complicated. We have performance engineers working with engineers at the plants and the marketing team to track all of the outages and their causes and run calculations to determine our reliability performance. Since I am a recovering engineer, I think I can tease our engineers just a little bit. And these are the kind of engineers that you see in the old NASA control room films from the 60s and the 70s. You know, the ones in the white shirts and the black ties and the horn-rimmed glasses and the pocket protectors. You know, maybe it's not quite that stereotypical, but these are the kinds of engineers that always seem to be the smartest ones in the room, and they absolutely love doing complex calculations like that. Reliability can be stressful. Like the time last Christmas when Leland Old Station Unit 1 came offline due to a melted piece of copper in the generator exciter. During the height of Winter Storm Elliott, when energy across the grid was critical, a team of LOS electricians and engineers reverse engineered and fabricated a legacy part from that 60-year-old generator. They were able to get that unit back online when a one-of-a-kind replacement part was nowhere to be found. Reliability can be dangerous. During that same time last Christmas, crews at the Dry Fork station worked in bitter cold temperatures to return that unit to service after an unplanned outage. The job involved outdoor work in the air-cooled condenser where the ambient temperature was minus 23 degrees Fahrenheit. And back in North Dakota, that same winter storm inundated the northwest part of the state. Power plant and transmission system employees labored through bitterly cold temperatures, deep snow, and high winds to return units to service as soon as possible. Throughout this time, with all the stress and danger of returning units to service in bitter cold temperatures, not one Basin Electric employee was injured. Getting back to Miles' talk about safety, I have a saying that when times get tough around here and everybody's scrambling and stressed out to get an unplanned outage, get that unit back to service, let's not turn a bad day into a worse one. We'd rather have that unit offline for one more day or even one more week than to have one of our employees get injured or worse. Another area that we have been focusing on this past year is improving our systems for lessons learned and root cause analysis. I firmly believe that our colleagues out in the field are the best in the business when it comes to getting units back online and to fixing things when they break. What we want to make sure we do is that we can do everything we can to keep those plants from going down in the first place. You will learn more about specific efforts around reliability in a panel discussion later today. But one thing I can tell you now is that the women and men who are on the front line of our reliability efforts, and by that I mean the employees who operate and maintain your generation and transmission assets, work very, very hard to keep those units online. And that is our ultimate goal, and my personal commitment to all of you, that we will do everything we can to keep reliability simple. When you flip the switch, the light comes on. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it back over to Todd.
Gavin, thank you for the reliability update. Folks, I guess my accent probably gives this away, but I am not a native to the Great Plains. Having survived my first North Dakota winter, I can say proudly I did that. Along with its 100 inches of snow, I have an even better appreciation for reliable electric service. In our business, we like to talk about keeping the lights on. I don't want to make light of keeping the lights on, and I hate to say this, but folks, there were times last winter when I said, to hell with the lights, just turn up the heat a little bit, please. We'll now move to affordability, and joining me on stage today to discuss affordability is our Interim Chief Financial Officer, Katrina Wald. In talking about affordability, Katrina has the most challenging job today, because when it comes to safety and reliability, we can measure those reasonably objectively. Affordability, however, is much more subjective. It's often in the eye of the beholder. For example, I would define an affordable rate as a rate that increases somewhere below the rate of inflation. Many of you would characterize affordable rates as stable rates for as far as the eye can see. And then probably most of you would define affordability as an ever-decreasing rate. Affordability is also impacted by a number of factors, like your system's transmission cost, the load factor of your system, and the meter density of your service territory. One way that we evaluate Basin's affordability is by comparing our cost to other G&Ts. The results are positive. In 2021, which you'll see here on the left, Basin had the 17th lowest rates of the 52 G&Ts that reported to the G&T Accounting and Finance Association. In 2022, the numbers improved. Basin had the 12th lowest rates of those G&Ts that reported their results. Like safety and reliability, we have developed specific affordability metrics. I'm now going to turn it over to Katrina to discuss our financial results and our affordability metrics. Katrina?
Thank you, Todd. We'll start by discussing the 2022 financial results. Deloitte was once again engaged to conduct the independent audit of Basin Electric's and its subsidiaries' 2022 financial statements. As part of the financial audit, Deloitte spends approximately 4 weeks in February performing fieldwork activities. In support of the audit fieldwork, the Basin team prepares over 350 work papers for Deloitte to assist in the audit process. All the members of the accounting team contribute in some form or fashion to the completion of the financial statements and associated footnotes, along with the preparation of audit work papers. I am so proud of the superb work the team does each and every day to get the bills paid, account for new assets, prepare monthly financials, file tax returns, and so much more, ultimately fulfilling the mission of Basin Electric and never losing sight of the cooperative's values. As in years past, we are pleased to report that in 2022, Deloitte issued clean or unqualified audit opinions for the consolidated Basin Electric financials as well as the Dakota Coal Company and Dakota Gasification Company financials. The Basin Electric consolidated financials, complete with the notes to the financial statements, are included in the 2022 annual report, which was published earlier this year. The 2022 annual report features a comprehensive financial section with enhanced discussion and analysis of the financial results. The annual report and 2023 quarterly consolidated financials are available on Basin Electric's website. Before we get into the detailed 2022 financial results, I would like to discuss how Basin creates value for its members, since the financial results demonstrate the value of creation that occurred in 2022. Basin Electric creates value by investing in assets and in our people, our most important asset. By investing in assets and people, Basin Electric is dedicated to providing reliable and affordable power. That is our mission. Secondly, Basin creates value for its members when it de-risks, which is important in maintaining stable and affordable rates. Basin has a strong balance sheet to lean on. As Todd mentioned, we ended the year with $8.4 billion in assets and consolidated liquidity of over $2 billion. Some other examples of risk mitigation include hedging natural gas sales and purchases, hedging power purchases, accelerated capital recovery plans that minimize risk associated with stranded assets, and applying regulatory accounting in certain situations. Finally, Basin creates value for its members when it returns value to the membership with bill credits, the allocation of patronage, and the distribution of patronage. Now we'll dive into the detailed 2022 financial results and discuss that value creation that occurred. Basin had a very strong year. Consolidated net margins and earnings were $155 million. In 2022, Basin Electric saw a 7.8% increase in member load growth and established a record for peak demand in December at 4,679 megawatts. In addition, Westside surplus sales increased as prices were very strong in the last half of the year. And our operations and marketing teams did an excellent job optimizing the members' assets in 2022. Lower maintenance expenses and benefits from power congestion hedging also contributed to the strong results. Partially offsetting these benefits was higher fuel costs and inflationary pressures having an impact on certain operating expenses. In 2022, Dakota Gas had a record year with net income of $186 million. Fertilizer and diesel exhaust fluid, or DEF, revenue was a large contributor to the record results, and pricing was a large factor in the revenue increase. Prices for fertilizer were some of the highest we have ever seen, and on the production side, ammonia production was at record levels, and DEF volumes were 35% higher than in 2021. In addition, synthetic natural gas prices averaged close to $6 per MMBTU, resulting in higher revenue from synthetic natural gas sales. As mentioned previously, the consolidated margin was $155 million. However, that is after the impact of value creation activities. On an adjusted basis, prior to value creation activities, the consolidated margin was approximately $470 million. The value creation that occurred in 2022 includes a $115 million bill credit to the members, a return of value. As a form of de-risking, early amortization of regulatory assets occurred in 2021 and 2022 for the 2 years that totaled over $100 million, with $28 million of that coming in 2022. Additional risk mitigation occurred with the resolution of certain tax items consistent with the tax sharing agreement and recognition of a gain related to an interest rate lock. Finally, $155 million was added to the Rate Stability Fund, which put the balance in the fund at $415 million at the end of 2022. The Rate Stability Fund provides a shock absorber for rates in the event of extreme weather events, unexpected maintenance, power price spikes, or other events that could have a significant impact on rates. The Rate Stability Fund is the ultimate risk mitigation tool and provides a big role in Basin fulfilling its mission to provide reliable and affordable power. Now we'll shift to financial performance in 2023. One of Basin Electric's objectives is to provide members with affordable power as measured by the rates we charge members. And as Todd mentioned, 3 cooperative-wide goals were set for 2023, with one of the goals centered around financial performance and affordable power. Basin Electric's financial goal for 2023 is to achieve a net cost per member megawatt hour sales equal to or less than $53.23, and achieve a consolidated net margin equal to or greater than $199.4 million. Through June, the net cost per member megawatt hour sales is lower than the budgeted amount, achieving the first financial objective for the first 6 months, and that is largely due to costs coming in below budget. The second financial objective is to achieve a consolidated margin, and the June year-to-date consolidated margin was $65.2 million, or $1.1 million above the objective of $64.1 million, achieving the second financial objective. Basin Electric's and Dakota Coal's margins exceeded budget, while DGC's margins fell short of budget. So you heard Miles talk about the importance of safety, and Gavin talk about why reliability is essential to our business. But why is affordability important enough to be one of the cooperative's 3 main business goals? The answer can be summed up best by one of you. Melissa Maher is the general manager of Class C member Morro Grande Electric in Timber Lake, South Dakota, which is a member of Class A member Rushmore Electric. Before we turn it back to Todd, listen to what Melissa has to say why affordable rates are essential to the members at the end of her co-op's lines.
Morro Grande is located in kind of north central South Dakota. We do serve our towns, so that's a blessing. And we're still 1.8 members per mile of line. So we have to provide that service with less revenue. If you look at our 3 counties, which is Corson, Dewey, and Ziebach counties in South Dakota, and they are, I believe the census calls it persistently in poverty over the years. You know, we don't work a collection until a meter's been 2 months overdue. If they get that bill under $40, we won't work them on collections. So put that into perspective, and I think about that in every decision I make, that, you know, if I'm taking somebody's meter out for $50, you know, what does that mean? We haven't had a rate increase since 2016. Since August of 16 was our last rate increase. And you know the times we've been living in. That's not because of a great job I did, you know, managing this co-op. That's because Basin was doing a great job. And they were able to give us money back. You know, I went through the double rate increases in 1 year, but then also the bill credits. And that's how life is. Life goes like that. You have ebb and flow through life, but if you all got the eye on the ball, if you are very cognizant of that member at the end of the line and what they're going through to get their bills paid, you are going to do your best to try to keep that bill at an affordable as best you can rate and cover all your bases. You know what? Basin's always had our back. And I'm a believer in that. And I believe in sticking with the person who brought us to the dance. Morro Grande is located in
Melissa, I liked what you said so much. I did want to have them play it twice, but I'm sure I'll listen to it again. Katrina, thank you for the update. And Melissa, well said, and we strive every day to live up to your expectations. In closing, we have put together a great program for you over the next day and a half. We'll be devoting our time to a number of substantive issues, and we look forward in engaging you in candid discussions. So thank you very much. I'll turn it back over